February in New England is quiet. The trees are bare. The roads are hard. Small towns tucked between hills move at their own pace. Life here doesn't shout. It drifts. Amid this winter stillness, a young woman prepares for something. She clears out her bank account, emails her professors, packs her dorm room, and gets into her car. She drives north, leaving behind her college, her friends, and everything familiar. She never arrives. This is the story of Maura Murray. Maura was born on May 4, 1982, in Hanson, Massachusetts. She was the fourth of 5 siblings in a close-knit Irish-American family. Her father, Fred, worked in maintenance and was deeply involved in his children's lives. Maura was known for her intelligence, discipline, and independence. She was a standout student, excelling in math and science, and equally impressive as an athlete. In high school, she ran track and cross country and earned a reputation for being driven. Coaches and teachers described her as determined and intensely focused. After high school, she was accepted into the prestigious United States Military Academy at West Point, where she began studying chemical engineering. Her time there was brief. She left after a minor disciplinary issue and transferred to the University of Massachusetts Amherst, where she enrolled in the nursing program. At UMass, she was known to be quiet but competent. She worked part-time jobs to support herself, including a campus security job, and she kept a relatively low profile. Her grades were solid. Her professors had no major concerns. There was no hint of instability. But behind this structure, Maura's life had started to fray. In late 2003, several personal setbacks began to accumulate. Her relationship with her long-distance boyfriend, Bill Rausch, an Army officer stationed in Oklahoma, had become strained. Friends said they had issues, though they still spoke often. Then came an incident in November 2003. Maura was caught using a stolen credit card number to order food. The amount was small, under $100, and the matter was handled internally. She was placed on probation by the university but didn't face formal charges. It was uncharacteristic behavior, and it left those around her puzzled. Shortly after, her father Fred visited her in Amherst to help her shop for a used car. He stayed overnight at a motel. That evening, Maura borrowed his car to go to a party. On her way back in the early morning hours, she crashed his car into a guardrail. The car was damaged. There were no injuries. Police wrote up an accident report. Her father was frustrated but not alarmed. The next day, he said she seemed upset. Not just about the crash, about something deeper. She didn't elaborate. On Monday, February 9, 2004, Maura Murray emailed her professors telling them there had been a death in the family. She said she would be out of town for a few days. There was no death in the family. She packed several days' worth of clothes, withdrew $280 from her bank account, and stopped at an ATM. Surveillance footage showed her alone. She then purchased liquor at a nearby store. The cashier remembered nothing unusual. She left Amherst in her 1996 black Saturn sedan, with a packed bag and a printed map of New Hampshire. It was snowing lightly. She headed north. Maura did not tell her friends where she was going. She did not inform her father. Her cell phone was turned on, but there was no GPS or live tracking in those days. She left behind no message, no note. She crossed the state line into New Hampshire. Hours later, her car would be found, nose first into a snowbank, on a remote stretch of Route 112 near the tiny town of Woodsville. She was gone. There were no footprints leading into the woods, no signs of injury or struggle. The car doors were locked. Her belongings remained inside, except for her debit card, cell phone, and a bottle of alcohol, all missing. To this day, Maura Murray has never been found, and what happened during those final quiet hours on the road remains one of the most perplexing mysteries in modern American true crime history. It's the evening of February 9, 2004. She is seen alone in her car, driving through the White Mountains region of northern New Hampshire, a scenic but isolated stretch of state highway known as Route 112. Temperatures hover just below freezing. Snowflakes drift across the windshield. There are few houses, fewer streetlights. It's a place people pass through, not stop. But Maura stops. And after that moment, she is never seen again. At 7:27 p.m., residents near the small town of Woodsville, population under 1,500, report a single car crash outside their homes on Wild Ammonoosuc Road, a curved stretch of Route 112. A black Saturn sedan is found nose first into a snowbank, lightly damaged. The windshield is cracked. Both airbags have deployed. The doors are locked. The rear tires are slightly lifted, but the car is not severely wrecked. Inside, an open bottle of alcohol, school books, clothes, a packed bag, a printed directions sheet to Bretton Woods, a resort deeper in the mountains, and a rag stuffed into the tailpipe, a makeshift attempt to stop exhaust from leaking. Maura Murray is nowhere in sight. Let's break down the timeline. Around 7:27 p.m., a local woman named Faith Westman, who lives near the crash site, calls 911 to report the accident. She doesn't see anyone injured, just a car in a ditch. She never sees the driver. Moments later, another neighbor, Butch Atwood, a school bus driver, stops and speaks briefly with a woman near the car. He later tells police the woman claimed she had called AAA and didn't need help. There's no record of Maura calling AAA. Atwood offers to call police anyway. She asks him not to. He drives off just a short distance and calls from home. That's the last confirmed sighting of Maura Murray. When police arrive at 7:46 p.m., just 19 minutes later, Maura is gone. No footsteps leading into the woods. No blood, no broken glass. No sign of struggle. Just a locked car and an empty road. It's as if she vanished in that 19-minute window. Police assume she ran into the woods to avoid DUI charges. She had alcohol in the car. She was underage. It's possible she panicked. They conduct a basic visual sweep of the surrounding area that night. No footprints are found. No scent trail, no witnesses, no phone pings. They tow the vehicle and file a simple accident report. There's no alert, no APB, no missing person status. Maura is listed as possibly intoxicated. The incident at this point is not treated as suspicious. The next morning, February 10th, Maura's father, Fred, is informed that her car has been found abandoned. He immediately drives up from Massachusetts. He is alarmed from the start. He knows his daughter wouldn't run off. She wouldn't disappear into the woods on a freezing night with no coat, no flashlight, and no plan. And she would not simply leave her car behind. When he arrives in Haverhill, he's shocked by what isn't being done. There are no active search parties. No dogs, no helicopters, no canvassing of nearby homes, just a local officer shrugging at the facts. Fred pushes harder. He organizes his own search. He distributes flyers, hires private investigators, retraces her steps from UMass to the White Mountains. Still, no Maura. Over the next 48 hours, police begin to take the case more seriously. But by then, critical time has already been lost. When cadaver dogs are finally brought in later that week, they track a brief scent trail from the vehicle, up the road, and around 100 yards east before it vanishes abruptly. No scent beyond that point. Some interpret this as evidence that Maura may have gotten into another vehicle, but no vehicle was reported at the scene, and the timeline remains thin. Let's review what Maura took with her. Around $280 in cash, withdrawn from her account before leaving Amherst. Her cell phone, her debit and credit cards, several days' worth of clothes, a bottle of wine and other alcohol. Directions to Bretton Woods Lodge, a resort 30 miles from where her car was found. What she left behind, her textbooks, her dorm room with most of her belongings, her family and boyfriend with no warning. Her car, no note, no goodbye, no indication of a longer plan. Over the next few days, police start to dig deeper. They contact her friends, professors, boyfriend. They learn she had emailed professors about a family emergency, but there was no such emergency. They learned she had been searching for lodging in the White Mountains area before she vanished. They learned she had recently been in trouble for a minor identity fraud issue, using another student's credit card to order food. They also uncover the crash she had days earlier in her father's Toyota Corolla, when she struck a guardrail returning from a party. Fred had been upset. Maura was reportedly devastated, but no single event seems to explain her disappearance. No clear red flag, no confirmed destination, and no one, not even Fred or her boyfriend Bill, knows why she went north. What we know from the car, the impact with the snowbank was not fatal. The airbags deployed, but damage was minor. There were signs someone had tried to get the car moving. There was a rag stuffed into the tailpipe, which her father later said was a trick he taught her to deal with bad muffler noise. The police initially speculate that Maura simply wandered off drunk into the woods and succumbed to hypothermia. But that theory doesn't hold up well. There are no footprints, no dropped belongings, and it would have required her to move fast and disappear completely in just 19 minutes, while cold, underdressed, and likely injured or shaken. In the days that follow, the New Hampshire Fish and Game, state police, and local volunteers organize searches on foot, ATV, and horseback. Helicopters are deployed. Hundreds of acres are combed. Still, nothing. Not a footprint, not a hair, not a piece of clothing. The land is rugged, forested, but not impossible to navigate. If Maura had died of exposure, some trace should have been found. But the area yields nothing. Police later investigate the possibility that Maura may have planned to disappear, that she staged the crash, left in another vehicle, and started a new life. This theory is fueled by speculation about her emotional state, recent trouble, relationship stress, and academic fatigue. But her family rejects this idea. Her bank account was untouched after that night. Her cell phone went dark. She left no communication, no trail, no identity use, not even an attempt to retrieve medical care, employment, or housing under another name. In 20 years, no verified sighting has ever emerged. What remains is the car, a scent trail that ends abruptly, and a missing girl last seen alive in the middle of nowhere. Maura Murray disappeared on February 9, 2004. No confirmed sightings, no evidence of a struggle, no body. In the years since, her disappearance has become one of the most analyzed and debated missing persons cases in the internet era. A haunting blend of fact, speculation, and silence. As the case grew colder, the theories began to multiply, each one aiming to explain what happened in those final 19 minutes on Route 112, and why in the years that followed, she was never found. Theory 1. Voluntary disappearance. Some believe Maura planned her vanishing, that she deliberately staged the car crash, left with someone else, and started a new life under a new identity. Supporters of this theory point to her false claim of a family emergency, her withdrawal of nearly all her money, the search history for hotels and cabins in the White Mountains, her troubled weeks leading up to the event, credit card incident, car crash, relationship stress. But there are serious gaps. Maura left behind her debit card, student ID, and most of her belongings. She never accessed her bank account again. Her social security number was never used. Her cell phone was never turned back on. No friends or family ever heard from her. Her father, Fred, rejects the theory completely. He believes she encountered someone on the road, and that person did not have good intentions. Theory 2. Abduction, foul play. The second theory is that Maura accepted a ride from a passing motorist, possibly voluntarily at first, and something went wrong. This is partially supported by the cadaver dog scent trail, which ended abruptly around 100 yards from her car, near a residential driveway. No tracks, no drag marks, just gone. Locals have speculated for years that someone in the area may know what happened, possibly someone who lived along Route 112. The road is remote, with few passing cars after dark. If someone stopped, Maura may have gotten in without realizing the risk. There was also a 2004 tip that a man in the area had been bragging at a party about burying a girl in his basement. The tip was investigated but never substantiated. In 2006, police searched a nearby A-frame house. The carpet was removed and tested. No evidence matched Maura, but the results were inconclusive. Years later, the same house was searched again by private investigators, with cadaver dogs allegedly reacting to an upstairs closet. Still, no physical evidence. No arrests. No body. Theory 3. Death by exposure. Another possibility is that Maura, disoriented or afraid of legal trouble, fled into the woods after the crash and succumbed to hypothermia. She was underdressed. She had been drinking. She may have panicked and wandered into the forest to avoid police contact. But extensive ground and aerial searches turned up nothing. No clothing, no remains, no disturbed brush. Hundreds of volunteers and professionals scoured the area within days. After 20 years, no trace of her has ever been found. Not even a shoe. That level of disappearance is rare, even in rural terrain. Theory 4. Unknown acquaintance or stalker. A more fringe theory is that Maura was meeting someone, possibly a secret acquaintance or someone she met online. It's supported by her secrecy, the sudden trip, the lack of communication, the printed map, and the lack of explanation to family or friends. If Maura was meeting someone, willingly or under pressure, they may have picked her up after the crash, but no such person has ever been identified. No digital trail has ever been found, and Maura left no writings, texts, or online messages indicating a planned meeting. As the years passed, Maura's case became one of the first missing persons cases to go viral. It was picked up by true crime forums, Reddit, and eventually featured in mainstream media, including Disappeared Investigation Discovery, The Missing Podcast, The Disappearance of Maura Murray, Oxygen Network, extensive blog coverage and analysis from true crime writers. Her case became symbolic, not just of one woman's disappearance, but of how quickly a person can be lost and forgotten. The Murray family's efforts. Fred Murray, Maura's father, became the relentless engine behind the search. For years, he traveled to New Hampshire almost every month, putting up flyers, conducting private searches, knocking on doors. He spoke at universities, pushed for policy change, filed lawsuits for access to police files, pleaded for the FBI to take over the case. Her sister Julie, a former army officer, became a spokesperson for the family, keeping Maura's case alive in the digital age. In 2021, Julie launched the Maura Murray Missing nonprofit to support other families of the missing. They have never stopped searching. Recent developments. In 2019, the FBI finally added Maura Murray's case to its VICAP, Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, a centralized database of unsolved crimes and missing persons. This move gave the case more national visibility. In 2021, police searched new areas of interest, including multiple properties near the crash site, but nothing conclusive was found. And in early 2023, a skull fragment found in nearby Vermont was tested and ruled out as Maura's. The case officially remains open and unsolved. There is no confirmed cause of death, no confirmed crime, no proof of life, just a car, a 19-minute window, and 20 years of silence. Maura's face is still listed on the FBI website. There's still a reward for information. Every year, true crime forums still revisit the case. She was 21 years old when she vanished. She would be in her early 40s today. She stood 5'7", weighed about 120 pounds, had brown hair and blue eyes, a scar on her cheek, a birthmark on her left leg. She wore a black fleece and gloves, jeans. Her cell phone was a flip phone, silver. It never turned on again after 7:27 p.m. Maura Murray didn't disappear from a war zone. She wasn't running from a crime. She was driving through a peaceful corner of rural New Hampshire, a place with no record of violent crime that night. And then nothing. No phone call, no sighting, no trace. In a country filled with cameras, databases, and digital footprints, she left none. Her story endures because it refuses resolution.